Hi, and welcome to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm Ange McCabe, CEO and co-founder of Intuitive Performance. I'm a performance coach, HR professional, whole person leadership facilitator, and your host. The Human Side of Business podcast is fueled by the genuine curiosity to understand how personal characteristics and skills can be leveraged to drive individual and team performance, tangible outcomes, and ultimately organizational success within business. Each podcast is devoted to sharing knowledge, expanding our learning edges, and exploring the trends in corporate culture towards growing the emotional intelligence of organizations. I'm so glad you're here. Hi there, this is Ange McCabe, CEO and co-founder of Intuitive Performance, where our business is the success of your business. I'm a performance coach, HR professional, facilitator, and your co-host along with Scott Rust of the Elevate Business Podcast. The Elevate Business Podcast is a journey of discovery fueled by curiosity to genuinely understand what makes people tick when it comes to their professional path, choices made, and the personal characteristics that drive performance, tangible outcomes, and ultimately success. The Elevate Business Podcast is here to promote the enormous contribution of small and medium-sized businesses around the world by exploring the actions that make a workplace successful, the trends in corporate culture towards growing the emotional intelligence of an organization, and how we build whole person leaders from the ground up. Each podcast is devoted to sharing knowledge, growing our learning edges, and honoring our passions with a special guest who has elevated their businesses, overcome obstacles, and inspires others to do the same. So glad you're here. Hi, and a warm welcome to the Elevate Business Podcast. Both myself, Ange McCabe, and Scott Russ are your hosts. We have the pleasure of introducing you to Mo Asgari, who leads the team at MonkeySoft Solutions, which serves many of the most notable restaurant brands in the US. Mo has proven success attracting and retaining talent, allowing him to build dynamic teams in a variety of environments, along with technical and operational processes required to help those teams be highly effective. His emphasis on leadership and people development is geared towards creating an inclusive, diverse workplace where everyone can contribute and achieve their full potential. Welcome, Mo.
Thank you. Very nice to be with you both.
Likewise. So tell us a little bit about your company, your role, and your journey.
Sure. And our company, MonkeySoft Solutions, was recently within the last 2.5 years, was acquired by a company called Easy Cater, and they focus in catering marketplaces and software solutions for restaurants. And under MonkeySoft, we develop and serve a lot of great restaurant brands in the US and helping them manage their catering business. So that's a little bit about the company personally, and I'm the president at MonkeySoft Solutions. In terms of myself, I started my career really as a software developer, and I've been very, very fortunate in my career to have had some amazing mentors and coaches and leaders who appreciated, my personal skills beyond my technical skills, which were good, but maybe not as good as my interpersonal skills, and really encouraged me to take more of the leadership roles in helping manage technical teams and companies. So I started my career as a software developer, building software solutions in a variety of industries. And I really quickly moved up through that encouragement to become team management and technical product management roles, and eventually really becoming sort of a leader in technology companies, providing an interconnection between business and the technology solutions. So the skills that I developed throughout my career was really to focus on that intersection in terms of how can technology elevate business and providing service and solutions to customers, really connecting the dots, becoming an expert at telling the story internally and externally, and really communicating an exciting and inspiring vision that everyone wants to be part of. So that's what I feel I've kind of elevated to in terms of, I don't know how many years of professional life, but being able to take advantage of technology, aligning it with the company vision, and then being able to tell an inspiring story that gets the team members are excited internally to be part of the experience, but also get our customers excited to want to utilize our services.
Fantastic.
I'd love to dive a little bit deeper there, Mo. And I love this trajectory between I wasn't going to be an amazing software developer. I found this opportunity in actually leading people in those kind of technical positions instead, and found ways to thrive there and stay. And tell us a little bit more about vision for the organization at MonkeySoft and how you're creating that environment for your team to thrive?
Sure. It was, I guess it kind of came naturally. You go, I don't know, in your career, 10 years, 15 years, and so on. And then you realize you kind of look back and reflect. And I kind of had that opportunity a few years ago to slow down, to kind of reflect, to say, what am I doing? What's my purpose? Which are all valid questions I think everyone goes through sometime in their life. And for me, it became obvious that I had the encouragement to move in that direction, but I also had a passion for working with people. I always had to kind of question of, is it really technology? Would I have the same experience if I was doing something else? And it became obvious to me is that it wasn't about technology, although I love technology. I love being any kind of project where I was surrounded or was part of an exciting group of people, and we were collaborating in an open, exciting way to try to solve some very complex problems. So when you come to that realization, then, and you look at what you're doing, it kind of puts you at an ease to and reflect, to say, you know what, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And you're not constantly questioning, your job and your career and whatever else that you're doing. And I've always felt, certainly within Monkey Media Software, very fortunate to have become part of this project and work with some other exciting leaders and team members to do some amazing work. In reality, really, we're a Canadian-based company based out of Vancouver, and we're really solving some really complex problems for some of the largest restaurant brands in the US. So that to me is, yes, the technology is a key part of it, but our people and our culture and our passion for the work that we do is a major part of it as well.
There's a lot of, I guess, a lot of snippets that I was kind of going through in my mind as you were speaking there, Mo, in the sense that you've really taken a step back to do some self-discovery with regards to where you want to go, because oftentimes many people throughout their careers, or even to this day, there's that joke, I'm 40 and what do I want to be when I grow up? Yeah. And, there's always some resistance with regards to our expectations or the trajectory that we thought we ought to be on versus what's showing up in our path today. And it sounds to me like you took some time to play with that. And it's like, originally in the tech side of it, and that was your thing or your jam. And then it's like, wait a minute, but I have this passion for people and I'm going to find some synergies here.
Yes. Yeah. And you're right. And I did do that. And when I look back, I don't want to say everything happens for a reason in your career and your life. So, and so I did slow down. I think maybe I was in my mid 40s a few years ago, and I had an opportunity to join this group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's called Think, and it's based out of the Netherlands. And it was a great moment for me to slow down. I always felt this, let me put it this way. I always felt like I've been training for this big game, and understanding when that moment has been or is in my career felt like there was a gap there. So slowing down and reflecting on my passion and purpose in life, what I really care about, what I really enjoy, what do I want to be? Because there was always this natural feeling that, the work that I want to do, I don't want it to feel like work. It's really just part of me, an extension of what I do on a daily basis. And that was always the case, but I hadn't really understood why that was. So slowing down enough to really start digging into, my likes and dislikes, things that I care about, things that, I might necessarily care about, but I do, was an important moment. I encourage all leaders to do that some point in their career. The earlier, the better. But for me, it came, when I was in my mid 40s, where I just came across this organization, and it made sense for me to go through the exercise and come out of it feeling more relaxed, understanding what I needed to do and what I wanted to do. And the biggest realization out of that is that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love it.
So that was kind of fun.
That's awesome. And I think what's really great about that is the fact that, well, with intention or without intention, you were already in the place where you needed to be. Where if you came up with a different answer at the end of that, then maybe we would have a different trajectory, I can imagine. Sure.
It's interesting you say that, because it's kind of a personal journey when you go through that. But I made it a conscious decision that I was going to share my experience with my family, but also with my work, with my team. So after the first week of, joining and going through that process, I was sitting with my team. We had a big company meeting. And I said, people, when they go through these experiences, two things happens. One, they realize that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And then, or they realize that they're on the complete wrong path and they quit and they move on to something else. And everyone's waiting in the room is like, okay, which one are you?
Yeah.
Are you on the right path or are you going to move in a different direction?
No pressure. You don't have to answer right now.
My business partner is standing right there. It's so funny. But yeah, for me, I'm very fortunate. Again, by luck or by hard work, I came to the realization that I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And it fueled me up for the next few years of our journey within Monkey Media Software.
That's amazing, Mo. And the word that comes to mind for me is vision. You've really identified the vision for yourself and from a leadership perspective. And I'm interested to understand, what does that vision look like for your team? And how do you gain buy-in and consistency?
That's very good. And it's not an easy answer. I want to highlight that it's really a process, but it's a process understanding and defining the right attributes that you're going to focus on and remind yourself on a daily basis in terms of why you're doing it. The biggest thing I've learned through my career is that if you work hard to serve your team members, the people that you spend a lot of time with on a daily basis, your team will work hard to take care of your customers. And your customers will then take care of your company. And I always felt my job as the president of our organization, yes, I have an external perspective, but really my number one priority was to focus on our internal team and our culture and our vision. So unpacking that, what does that mean? And I want to put aside compass, money, equity, benefits. Of course, those are some things that have to be there, but there's something special beyond that great leaders need to focus on. And that's really, and some of those things that I've learned is really working hard to develop an open culture, when ideas are challenged, not people. Right. So if someone's putting an idea, everyone's challenging the idea, not the person who actually expressed the idea. Creating an environment where, people are encouraged to share their ideas through, and then do that through practice and encouragement, where you're developing an environment where you have psychological safety. So people are not in a situation where they're going to express their opinion and be worried about that, what others are going to think about them. And that takes work, right, to create and do. I also like to encourage and coach our teams. I grew up in sports, so I did individual sports. I play team sports. So when I reflect on, our professional team of work, practicing mental and physical well-being, you're not forcing it on anyone, but you're talking about it and you're encouraging people to learn and then find something that works for them. But it's the same kind of things that successful professional teams do as well, is that how do we, for us to show up with the right mindset and, proper, self to add value, we need to take care of ourselves through many different perspectives and dimensions. So talking about that again, has nothing to do with your work, but it talks about, we care about our people, we care about your well-being, we care about your, mental wellness, and here's some tools and ideas to help them be the best they can be, not just at work, but also in their personal lives. And then beyond that is really, empowering them to think creatively. Sometimes a quick answer may not always be the best answer. And the words that we talk about, you need to practice. There's been many organizations you walk into that they've got big words on their walls to sort of highlight, we care about these things, but beyond the words, it actually means that people actually care and actually are practicing it. But ultimately, we want to work very hard to develop a culture that's focused on unification and sense of community, that you're part of a group, you're part of a family, and together you have this vision that you're trying to achieve to solve for that. So I always talk about that core in terms of the foundation of an organization, of a team. And then the next layer beyond that is, okay, as a group, what are we trying to do, right? Now that we're together, we're an organized, well-oiled, professional team, highly performing team. What is it that we're trying to do? And beyond that, then you get into the, providing, guidelines and aligning with the overall company objectives and goals, defining what is your North Star. And to me, that is critical because nobody wants to sit there and micromanage what people do on an everyday basis. But if everyone understands and knows the direction that you're going, then they have the freedom and the ability to some extent to be able to align to that ultimate vision and work within guidelines towards that direction. And that's, I found as a leader, and we've worked very, very hard in defining and making sure we're all aligned with what our vision was and what our North Star was. We actually questioned it, if not monthly, every quarter together, just to make sure we're all on the same page, regrounding ourselves in terms of why are we doing the things that we're doing is to get there. And that really empowered our other leaders within the organization to act accordingly towards that path forward. That opened me as a leader to focus on some other things and not have to worry about, are we always doing the right things that we're supposed to be doing? So that was part of it. And then of course, within that context, people are encouraged to define their own goals and objectives that are aligned, encouraging them. I always like to encourage them to think and include their own personal goals and career goals. Again, as I said earlier, if you can find a project, work, job, whatever you want to call it, that aligns with your values as an individual, then the value that adding the work that you're doing towards that, if it's aligned, then it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like a 9-to-5 experience. So, and I've had many conversations with team members who are challenged. And I said, listen, that's completely okay. There's nothing wrong with you treating this as a job. Okay. This job is resource, is funding you to be able to do other things that you're passionate about, maybe outside of the context of the work that you're doing. And that's okay. I think as leaders, we have to encourage our people to say, when we're not trying to fit you in a certain mold, but to use this as a resource, or if it's aligned and we've done a great job to align with your personal values and goals, then all the better, because we all know in work that there's tough situations where you kind of need that grounding and that deep belief that I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing in my life to be able to fight through those tough moments, whether it's at work or your personal life. So I think that's super, super important. And, in small companies or even large companies, being part of it, it's just those challenges happen and the grounding's got to be there, because there's moments of deep soul searching, questioning, why am I doing this? And if that's aligned, then I think it makes your life a lot easier. So hopefully I provided you some insights into the way I think regarding setting up a team and organizing in a way that, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there, Mo.
A lot.
And I know Andrew's waiting to jump in here. I'm going to try to recap a little bit just to keep us kind of on pace here. Few major points coming up around creating that psychological safety and that openness in the workplace for others to really be able to speak their mind and be heard without feeling that there's consequences around that. Building upon that is, aligning people's passions and their interests, and I can imagine even strengths, with their job roles and what they're looking to fulfill. And then also having that clear picture as to, well, here's where the company is going, and here's how my job actually fulfills that vision. And seeing how the work that I'm doing is tied to those objectives or those goals, kind of moving forward. I know there is more, but I'll pause for a moment here to let Anja jump in as well.
I was going to, from a place of just say, Scott, I think Mo has organically already gone through all of our programs, because
I know, right? About, he's speaking whole person performance.
He is.
Is this being recorded?
Right? Seriously.
I hope so.
And
I know, right?
It's so interesting, Mo, because Scott and I jostle with the thought process around whole person performance, and how do we encapsulate those thoughts? And you've described them. So I know I'm going to be listening to this podcast again, because it's the perfect storm of things like cultural alignment. What's on your walls is what you do day to day. Making sure that you're looking at strength-based performance. So psychological safety, making sure that things are aligned with regards to your objectives, the department, the vision of, or the strategy, on an annual basis. Ensuring that team members understand that it's okay that they're not living, breathing, bleeding the company like the president is, right? We have our identities. This is what whole person performance is. And by the way, we understand that there's a person. We don't expect you to separate yourself from your job. And how can we also help you discover yourself and your purpose? Because we've been hearing that so much from our coaching clients, even from our HR clients on the other side of our business, in the sense of, what's our purpose? What are we here for? What are we doing? And what are we setting out to strive? And so you've elegantly highlighted that throughout the whole podcast. And the other thing that kind of comes top of mind for us that we ask all participants, but I'm really interested or intrigued to see what you have to say, Mo, is what are 3 words of inspiration that you would want the world to hear?
That's a very, very good question. And I think if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd probably say something completely different. But as I've matured,
I enjoy it.
And it's, and the word, it's actually statements, if I could say it, is to me, one of the biggest things that I learned is to really slow down and pay attention to the details. Many of us move extremely fast through life and through our work, and we miss some critical details, and the details of the experience is what matters. So slowing down would be my first, advice or inspiration statement that I want to make. The other thing that I think that's important, and this is not just about work, it's just about aligning with who you are as an individual, is be present and be in the moment. Especially you as a leader, you are setting an example for the others. There's many people within the organization that are looking at you. So being in present, paying attention, being in the moment, I think is super, super important. And then more than anything, I shouldn't say more than anything, just as important, and we've learned this in society and with everything that's happening, is really become very good at appreciating different perspectives. Okay. A successful team is not all A+ players. It's a mix of different perspectives and ideas. And I think the strength of the organization is creating an environment where it's open to different perspectives and different ideas, and practices the skills on listening to those ideas and then using the best ideas to help your team, your customers, and your business. So slow down, be present, and appreciate the different perspectives are really the 3 things that I wanted to share with the world.
Thank you very much, Mo, for joining us and sharing with us today, from your leadership to your entrepreneurial to your thoughtful insights. We really enjoyed it. And wanting to know, one last question for you before you go, where's the best place for our listeners to connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. Mo Asgari is my profile there. Twitter @AsgariMo. And my personal email is also there, but LinkedIn is probably the best way to get a hold of me if they want to ask questions and connect with me.
All right. Perfect. So we really enjoy you sharing your insights with Intuitive Performance and our subscribers. And for those who would like to learn more about MonkeySoft, we're also going to provide a link to your company's profile on the Elevate Business podcast page. Take good care.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for having me. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Likewise. Oh, thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Elevate Business podcast. I hope you enjoyed the program. You can subscribe to future podcasts at intuitiveperformance.com, where you can also sign up for webinars and learn more about professional coaching and our facilitation solutions available to help fire up your whole person performance skills and drive actions for success. Until next time, stay true to you and take care of each other. We are all better together. Thanks for listening to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm glad you could join us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, make sure to visit our website. The link can be found in the episode description, where you can subscribe to the podcast, sign up for our newsletter, and learn more about our whole person leadership services. Sounds interesting? Explore the Whole Person Leadership Cohort by Intuitive Performance, a unique program that offers unparalleled support to managers on every step of their leadership journey. Our program features evidence-based assessments, workbooks, group coaching, and interactive learning experiences to help you level up your leadership skills. Reach out today to apply to one of our upcoming cohorts. Until next time, take care and stay curious.